Last month, a guy in California bought a beat-up BMW for 35 grand and sold it 6 months later for over $100,000. And he's not some car dealer with connections. He's just a regular dude who knew which BMWs to target. Today, I'm breaking down the 10 BMW models that are absolute gold mines for flipping right now. But before we dive in, hit that subscribe button, because I'm about to save you from making some expensive mistakes that could cost you thousands. Look, I get it. You've probably heard about car flipping before, and maybe you've even thought about trying it yourself. But here's what nobody tells you. Not all cars are created equal when it comes to flipping potential. While everyone's fighting over Porsches and Ferraris, smart money is quietly making fortunes on specific BMW models that fly completely under the radar. I've spent months analyzing market data, auction results, and sales trends to identify the exact BMWs that offer the biggest profit potential with the lowest risk. We're talking about cars that have proven track records of appreciation, strong demand from collectors and enthusiasts, and most importantly, are still accessible to regular guys like us who don't have unlimited budgets. The beauty of BMW flipping is that these cars have something most other brands don't. They're built by enthusiasts, for enthusiasts. That means there's always going to be demand, especially for the right models. And when I say the right models, I'm talking about cars that have that perfect storm of performance heritage, limited production numbers, and growing collector interest. But here's the kicker. Timing is everything. Some of these BMWs are at the bottom of their depreciation curves right now, which means we're looking at the perfect buying opportunity. Others are just starting their climb toward classic status, and getting in early could mean the difference between a decent profit and a life-changing payday. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Car flipping isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. You need to know what to look for, understand the market, and most importantly, buy the right cars at the right prices. But when you nail it, the profits can be absolutely insane. So let's get into it. Here are the 10 BMWs that could make you serious money. Number 10, BMW Z4 G29, 2019 to present. Starting our list with a modern play that most people aren't even thinking about yet. The current generation Z4 is taking a beating in the depreciation department, and that's exactly what we want to see as flippers. Here's the deal. These cars originally sticker for around $70,000 to $80,000 new, but you can find clean examples now for $45,000 to $55,000. That's a massive hit in just a few years, which means the worst of the depreciation is behind us. The G29 Z4 is special because it's the last of a dying breed, a pure roadster with a manual transmission option and a naturally aspirated inline-6 engine. Well, actually it's turbocharged, but you get the point. BMW partnered with Toyota on this platform, which means it shares DNA with the new Supra, and that connection alone is going to drive future collectability. Look for the M40i models with the 6-speed manual transmission. These are going to be the ones that appreciate first, because they offer the purest driving experience. The manual transmission cars are already commanding premiums over the automatics, and that gap is only going to widen. The play here is simple. Buy a clean, low-mileage M40i manual for around 50 grand. Hold it for 3 to 5 years, and watch it climb back toward its original MSRP as people realize what they're missing. Conservative profit potential is $15,000 to $20,000, but if these become the next Z3 or Z8, we could be looking at much bigger numbers. Number 9, BMW E31 8 Series, 1990 to 1999. This is the sleeper pick that nobody's talking about, and that's exactly why it's on this list. The E31 8 Series was BMW's flagship Grand Tourer from the 90s, and it's been flying under the radar for way too long. These cars are absolute engineering marvels. We're talking about BMW's first V12 engine mated to a 6-speed manual transmission, 4-wheel steering on some models, and styling that still looks futuristic today. BMW spent over $1 billion developing this car, which is insane money even by today's standards. Here's why they're perfect for flipping. Most people have completely forgotten about them. While everyone's chasing E30 M3s and paying ridiculous money, you can still find decent 8 Series cars for $20,000 to $40,000. That's absolutely nuts for what you're getting. The sweet spot is the 850 CSI with the 5.6-liter V12 and manual transmission. Only 1,510 of these were ever made, and they're starting to get serious attention from collectors. Clean examples are still trading in the 60 to 80,000 range, but mark my words, these are going to be six-figure cars within the next 5 years. Even the base 840Ci models are solid plays. You can find good ones for $25,000 to $35,000. And as people discover how special these cars really are, values are going to climb steadily. The key is finding one that's been maintained properly, because these are complex machines that can get expensive if neglected. Number 8. BMW E36 M3, 1992 to 1999. Now we're getting into M car territory, and the E36 M3 is the perfect entry point for anyone wanting to flip performance BMWs without breaking the bank. The E36 M3 sits in this sweet spot where it's affordable enough for regular enthusiasts, but special enough to have serious collector potential. Average prices are sitting around $25,000 right now, which is incredibly reasonable for what you're getting. Here's what makes the E36 special. It was the first M3 available in multiple body styles. You had the coupe, sedan, and convertible, which gives you options depending on your budget and risk tolerance. The coupes are the most desirable, followed by the sedans, with convertibles bringing up the rear. But here's the insider tip. Look for the rare variants. The lightweight models from 1995 are already commanding serious money, with clean examples selling for over $100,000. But even the regular models have room to run, especially the later cars with the 3.2-liter engine. The play here is finding a clean, well-maintained example with service records. Avoid the ones that have been modified heavily or tracked extensively. You want something that's been babied by an enthusiast who understood what they had. Buy a good E36M 3 Coupe for $25,000 to $30,000, keep it stock, and hold it for 5 years. Conservative estimate is you'll see it appreciate to $40,000 to $50,000, as people realize these are the last of the naturally aspirated M3s with that classic BMW character. Number 7. BMW E92 M3, 2008 to 2013. The E92 M3 is criminally undervalued right now, and that makes it perfect for flipping. This is the last M3 with a naturally aspirated engine, a screaming 4.0-liter V8 that revs to 8,400 RPM and sounds absolutely incredible. Average prices are sitting around $33,000, which is insane value for what you're getting. These cars were over $70,000 new, and they offer performance that rivals modern supercars. 0 to 60
Not only was the E92 the first M3 to sport,
that's serious performance. Here's why they're perfect for flipping. The market hasn't fully recognized what these cars represent yet. They're the end of an era for BMW M cars. Everything after this went turbocharged, which means the E92 is the last of the old school, high-revving M3s. The manual transmission cars are where the money is. Automatics are fine for daily driving, but collectors want the stick shift. Look for competition package cars if you can find them. These had upgraded suspension, wheels, and interior bits that make them more desirable. The sweet spot is finding a clean, unmodified example with full service records. These cars can be expensive to maintain if they've been neglected, so documentation is crucial. Buy smart at $30,000 to $35,000, and you should see these climb to $50,000 to $60,000 over the next 5 years as people realize what they're missing. Number 6. BMW F80 M3, 2015 to 2018. According to the experts, the F80 M3 represents the best value in the M3 lineup right now, and I completely agree. These cars are sitting at the bottom of their depreciation curve, which makes them perfect for flipping. Average prices are around $47,000, but you can find good examples for less if you're patient. These cars were originally over $70,000 new, so we're looking at significant depreciation that's already happened. What makes the F80 special is that it's the sweet spot between old-school M-car character and modern performance and reliability. The twin-turbo inline-6 produces 425 horsepower in standard form, and these cars are absolute rockets. Plus, they're comfortable enough to daily drive, which broadens the potential buyer pool. The key with F80s is finding one that hasn't been modified. These cars are popular with the tuning crowd, which means a lot of them have been messed with. You want something stock with full service records and preferably still under warranty. Look for competition package cars if your budget allows. These had more power, better suspension, and unique styling cues that make them more collectible. Manual transmission cars are also commanding premiums over the automatics. Buy a clean F80 M3 for $40,000 to $45,000. Hold it for 3 to 5 years and watch it climb back towards $60,000. As people realize these represent the last of the naturally aspirated feeling M3s before everything went full electric. Number 5. BMW E46 M3, 2001 to 2006. The E46 M3 is where things start getting really interesting. This is widely considered one of the best M3s ever made, and the market is finally starting to recognize that fact. Average prices are sitting around $31,000. But here's the thing, that average includes a lot of high mileage modified examples. Clean, stock cars with low miles are already commanding significantly more, and that trend is only accelerating. The E46 M3 has everything collectors want: naturally aspirated inline-six engine, perfect 50-50 weight distribution, and that classic BMW M car character that's been lost in newer models. Plus, it was the last M3 available, with a manual transmission as standard equipment. The real money is in the special editions. Competition package cars, also known as ZCP models, are already trading for $40,000 to $60,000 for clean examples. But even regular models have serious upside potential. Here's the insider play. Look for Laguna Seca blue cars. This color is absolutely iconic and commands serious premiums. A clean L SBE 46 M3 with low miles can easily bring $60,000 to $80,000, and I've seen perfect examples crack 6 figures. The key is condition and documentation. These cars are 20 years old now, so maintenance records are crucial. Avoid anything that's been tracked extensively or modified heavily. You want something that's been cherished by an enthusiast who understood what they had. Buy smart at $35,000 to $40,000 for a clean example, and you should see steady appreciation over the next 5 years as these transition from used cars to collectible classics. Number 4. BMW E39 M5, 1999 to 2003. Here's where we get into serious money territory. The E39 M5 is experiencing some interesting market dynamics right now that create perfect flipping opportunities. The market data shows average prices around $35,000, but here's what's happening. There's a massive spread between high mileage examples and low mileage garage queens. You can find high mileage cars for $20,000 to $30,000, while pristine examples are commanding $60,000 to $80,000 or more. This creates the perfect arbitrage opportunity. Buy a higher mileage example that's been well maintained, invest in bringing it up to concours condition, and flip it to collectors who want perfection. The E39 M5 is special because it represents the peak of the naturally aspirated M5 era. The 4.9-liter V8 produces 394 horsepower and sounds absolutely incredible. These cars also have that perfect balance of performance and luxury that made them the ultimate sleeper sedan. Here's the play. Find an example with 100,000 to 150,000 miles that's been maintained by an enthusiast. These cars can handle high mileage if they've been cared for properly. Invest $5,000 to $10,000 in bringing it to perfect condition, fresh paint, interior restoration, full mechanical refresh, and you can flip it for $60,000 to $70,000 to collectors who want a perfect example but don't want to do the work themselves. The key is documentation. Service records are everything with these cars. A high mileage car with complete records is worth more than a low mileage car with no history. Number 3. BMW E28 M5, 1986 to 1988. Now we're talking about the Holy Grail, the original M5. This is the car that started it all, and with only 2,241 ever made, rarity is definitely on our side. Current market averages are around $48,000, but clean examples are already pushing well into 6 figures. The highest recorded sale was $140,000, which shows where the market is heading for perfect cars. What makes the E28M5 so special is its place in automotive history. This was the world's fastest production sedan when it was introduced, and it established the template for every super sedan that followed. The hand-built 3.5-liter inline-six was derived from the M1 supercar, which gives it serious racing pedigree. The European models are the ones to target if you can find them. They made 282 horsepower compared to the 256 horsepower in US spec cars due to emissions regulations. But honestly, any E28 M5 in good condition is going to appreciate. Here's the strategy. These cars are old enough now that condition is everything. A rough example might only bring 30 to 40,000, while a concours quality car can easily hit six figures. Find a solid driver quality example for 50 to 60,000, invest in a proper restoration, and you're. Create voiceover. Copy. Retry. Daniel. Continue. Poppy. Claude 4 Sonnet. Looking at a car worth well over 100,000 when you're done. The key with E28 M5S is authenticity. These cars are old enough that many have been modified or had engine swaps over the years. You want something that's numbers matching with proper documentation. A clean title, service records, and original components are worth their weight in gold. Number 2. BMW E30 M3, 1987 to 1991. Here's where things get really serious. The E30 M3 is the poster child for BMW appreciation, and for good reason. This isn't just a car, it's a piece of automotive history that's only getting more valuable. Current average prices are sitting around $85,000, but that number is misleading because it includes everything from rough project cars to concours quality examples. Clean, original cars are already well into six figures, with the best examples pushing toward 200,000 or more. The E30 M3 was built for homologation purposes to qualify BMW for touring car racing, which means it's a race car that you can drive on the street. Only about 17,000 were made worldwide, and significantly fewer made it to the US market, which drives up the rarity factor. Here's what makes these cars so special. They represent the purest expression of what an M3 should be. Naturally aspirated four-cylinder engine that revs to the moon, perfect weight distribution, and handling that's still considered benchmark today. Plus, they have that 80s aesthetic that's absolutely iconic. The flipping strategy here is all about condition and originality. Modified cars are worth significantly less than stock examples, so you want something that's been preserved rather than improved. Look for cars with original paint, interior, and most importantly, the original engine and transmission. The sweet spot is finding a solid driver quality example for 60 to 70,000. These cars are appreciating so quickly that even average examples are seeing steady gains. But if you can find a truly exceptional car and you have the budget, don't hesitate. These are only going to get more expensive. Special editions like the Evolution models are already in the stratosphere, but even regular E30 M3s have serious upside. Buy smart, keep it original, and you're looking at steady appreciation for years to come. Number 1. BMW 507, 1956 to 1959. And here's the ultimate BMW flip, if you can find one and afford it. The BMW 507 is the holy grail of BMW collecting, and values have gone absolutely insane in recent years. Only 252 of these cars were ever built, making them rarer than most Ferraris. We're talking about a car that nearly bankrupted BMW because they lost money on every single one they made. But that financial disaster for BMW in the 50s has created the ultimate collector car today. Recent auction results show these cars selling for anywhere from $2 to $5 million for the best examples. Elvis Presley owned one, John Surtees had one, and pretty much every celebrity in the 50s and 60s wanted one. That provenance and celebrity connection drives values through the roof. Now, I'm not saying you should go out and buy a 507 tomorrow. Most of us don't have millions lying around. But if you ever get the opportunity, or if you happen to stumble across one that's been forgotten in a barn somewhere, you're looking at potentially the biggest score in automotive history. The 507 represents everything that makes BMW special. Beautiful design, advanced engineering for its time, and exclusivity that money can't buy today. These cars are appreciating faster than almost any other classic, and there's no sign of that slowing down. Even rough examples are worth serious money because there are so few of them. A project car that needs complete restoration can still bring $500,000 or more, just for the opportunity to own one of the most beautiful cars ever made. The flipping strategy that actually works. Now that we've covered the cars, let's talk strategy, because buying the right car is only half the battle. The real money is made in how you buy, what you do with the car while you own it, and when you sell. First rule, buy the best example you can afford. It's always better to stretch your budget for a really clean car than to buy a cheaper project and try to fix it up. The market pays huge premiums for originality and condition, and it's almost impossible to restore a car for less than the difference between a rough car and a clean one. Second rule, documentation is everything. Service records, original paperwork, and provenance can add tens of thousands to a car's value. A car with complete records is worth significantly more than one without, even if the cars are otherwise identical. Third rule, timing matters. The best time to buy is when everyone else is selling. Economic downturns, seasonal patterns, and market cycles all create opportunities for smart buyers. The best time to sell is when demand is highest, usually spring and summer for convertibles, and fall for everything else. Fourth rule, know your exit strategy before you buy. Are you flipping quickly for a fast profit, or holding long-term for maximum appreciation? Different cars require different strategies, and you need to know which game you're playing before you start. What to look for when buying. When you're evaluating any of these BMWs for flipping potential, there are specific things you need to check that can make or break your profit margins. First, always get a pre-purchase inspection from someone who knows these cars. BMW specialists can spot problems that general mechanics might miss, and catching issues early can save you thousands down the road. Second, verify the VIN and make sure all the numbers match. Engine swaps, transmission swaps, and other modifications can kill resale value, especially on collector cars where originality is paramount. Third, check for accident history. Even minor accidents can significantly impact value, and major accidents can make a car nearly worthless for flipping purposes. Clean Carfax reports are worth their weight in gold. Fourth, look at the maintenance history. These are performance cars that require proper care. A car that's been maintained by a BMW specialist is worth more than one that's been serviced at quick lube places. The risks you need to know about. Car flipping isn't all profits and glory. There are real risks that can wipe out your gains if you're not careful. The biggest risk is buying the wrong car. Overpaying for a car that has hidden problems or isn't as desirable as you thought can turn a profitable flip into an expensive lesson. That's why research and inspection are so crucial. Market timing is another major risk. Car values can be cyclical, and buying at the peak of a market cycle can leave you underwater for years. The key is understanding long-term trends versus short-term fluctuations. Maintenance and storage costs can eat into profits if you're not careful. These are performance cars that require proper care, and storing them properly while you own them is essential for maintaining value. Legal and tax implications are something most people don't think about. Depending on how many cars you flip and how often, you might be considered a dealer by your state, which comes with licensing requirements and tax implications. Why these BMWs are different? What makes BMW such a great brand for flipping comes down to a few key factors that separate them from other manufacturers. First, BMW has always been an enthusiast brand. Even their regular cars are designed with driving dynamics in mind, which means there's always going to be demand from people who appreciate good engineering and performance. Second, BMW's M division has created some of the most iconic performance cars ever made. The M badge carries serious weight in the automotive world, and M cars have proven track records of appreciation. Third, BMW's build quality and engineering mean these cars can handle high mileage if they're maintained properly. A well-cared-for BMW can easily go 200,000 miles or more, which gives buyers confidence in purchasing higher mileage examples. Fourth, the enthusiast community around BMWs is incredibly strong. There are clubs, forums, specialists, and parts suppliers that support these cars long after BMW stops making them. That infrastructure is crucial for maintaining values over time. The market trends, you need to understand. The classic car market has changed dramatically over the past few years, and understanding these trends is crucial for successful flipping. First, the demographic shift is huge. Baby boomers who drove muscle cars are aging out of the market, while Gen X and millennials who grew up with BMWs, Porsches, and Japanese sports cars are entering their peak earning years. This shift in buyer demographics is driving demand for different types of cars. Second, the move toward electric vehicles is actually helping classic car values. As new cars become more appliance-like, there's growing appreciation for cars that offer pure, analog driving experiences. BMWs from the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s represent the peak of that analog experience. Third, social media and online communities have made it easier for enthusiasts to connect and share information. This has increased awareness of rare and special cars, which drives up demand and values. Fourth, the supply of clean, original examples is shrinking every year. Cars get crashed, modified, or neglected, which means the pool of investment quality examples gets smaller while demand continues to grow. How to actually execute the flip. Let's get practical about how you actually make money doing this. It's not enough to just buy the right car. You need to execute the entire process correctly. Start by setting your budget and sticking to it. It's easy to get caught up in auction fever or fall in love with a particular car, but discipline is crucial for profitable flipping. Know your numbers before you start shopping. Do your homework on specific cars before you buy. Know what options are desirable, what problems to look for, and what a fair price looks like. The more you know about a specific model, the better deals you'll be able to spot. Build relationships with BMW specialists, parts suppliers, and other enthusiasts. The BMW community is tight-knit, and having good connections can help you find cars, get better prices on maintenance, and identify potential buyers when it's time to sell. Consider the total cost of ownership while you hold the car. Insurance, storage, maintenance, and registration all add up. Factor these costs into your profit calculations so you don't get surprised. Have an exit strategy before you buy. Know where you're going to sell the car and what your target profit margin is. Different cars sell better in different venues. Some do well at auction, others are better suited for private sales or dealer consignment. The bottom line, BMW flipping can be incredibly profitable if you do it right, but it requires knowledge, patience, and discipline. The cars I've outlined today represent the best opportunities in the current market, but remember, past performance doesn't guarantee future results. The key to successful BMW flipping is buying cars that have strong fundamentals, limited production, enthusiast appeal, and historical significance. These factors create the foundation for long-term appreciation that makes flipping profitable. But here's the most important thing. Only flip cars that you'd be happy to own long-term. The market can be unpredictable, and you might end up holding a car longer than you planned. If you buy something you genuinely love, that's not a problem. It's just an extended test drive of an awesome car. The BMW market is strong right now, and the trends all point toward continued appreciation for the right cars. Interest rates, inflation, and economic uncertainty might create short-term buying opportunities, but the long-term outlook for collectible BMWs remains very positive. Remember, car flipping is as much about passion as it is about profit. The most successful flippers are the ones who genuinely love cars and understand what makes them special. If you're just looking for a quick buck, there are easier ways to make money. But if you love BMWs and want to turn that passion into profit, these 10 cars represent your best opportunities. The BMW flipping game is heating up, and the smart money is already moving on these cars. But here's something I didn't mention in this video. There's one specific BMW model that's about to explode in value, and most people have no idea it's coming. I break down exactly which car it is and why it's going to make early buyers rich in this video right here. Don't miss out on what could be the biggest BMW opportunity of the decade. I'll see you in the next one.